All right, and we're back with Koda. So Coda, this is the video. This is the footage that I retook because I had lost the footage from our third session, which was so sad. But here, I am working on his walking and his understanding of where exactly he needs to be when we walk. So his first session was, a lot of assessment. His second session was a lot of like getting him used to the boundary of the leash. And then this one, I just want him to like really have a solid understanding of where he's supposed to be at. So I reward him with a ton of play because that's what he really loves. Like you'll see at times when I start to give him cookies, he's just like, cool. He drops half of them on the ground and then kind of decides to eat them. He loves to play. So I try to reward him with that as much as possible. The waiting for him is really, really hard. So we work on that a little later in this video too, and you'll see just how hard it is. So because he was kind of sticking to me like glue, I decided it may be helpful for him if I just tossed rewards to where he was at to just help better build that proximity idea. And over time, it gets better. He does okay. He is getting really good with the distanced sit. So when I cue him to sit from a distance, he'll sit. So that's really cool. And once he gets like that small window of waiting time, I release him. We do a lot of running around, and then we go back into walking, which is something he seems to understand really, really good now. And I was doing an exercise with him where when I say wait, I want his paws to pretty much be lined up with my feet, as well as if I say wait and walk away, he stays right there. And it's really interesting. He gets it really, really good on the last one. So you can be as picky as you want with what your dog does when you stop walking. You can have him sit, you can have him lay down, you can have him just stand there. And I wasn't really doing too much of that stuff with him. He did offer the sit more often than not, so I just started to go with that. But it's kind of up to you what you want him to do when you ask for the wait while you're walking. And we can work on that next time. The sit is nice because then you kind of just know your dog's going to be stationary, and he does have a bit of a wandering nose when he gets bored. Like you'll see, like there, he starts to sniff kind of when he can. So the waiting is looking better at this point. He seems to take the treat and then get up, which is something I'll work on with him. And then once he gets a little nervous and frazzled, like right there, he would blow it, but then he did well and I released him. So yeah, he did really good. And then this is, I think, our last session that we did. So this is when we took him out to the gas station across the street. I had been doing a lot of like walking work with him inside because when I first met him, he didn't understand what walking on a leash was. So I really wanted to see how he did in the real world with other people around. So we wait at the sidewalk. He does stellar. We get up to the gas station and he does pretty stellar. He does gun ahead a little bit. So you could see I'm giving him a little bit of pops there. But he does stay on a consistent side when walking. I am able to have my hand just kind of down on the side and not really do a whole lot with it. So then he got kind of curious with someone who was like, I think they were just doing something with their trunk over to the left of us. There's a gentleman. So he went to go say hello and he kind of crossed over, and I would have like brought him back to the other side before he got fully to that side. But then once he got on that side, he kind of walked like he was doing his task of walking. So that's fine. As long as he understands, like, when we are walking, this is your task. When I sit and release you to sniff, you can sniff. That's your free time. And then when I tell you, let's go, we're back in our walk. So he did really good with the other people, and he didn't try to jump on them or anything. So that's mainly what I was looking for. And then the last part is where you're going to see the struggle for him. So just like when I was out on the grass with him trying to do weight, that's a lot of the struggle we saw with him when we added the layer of bringing my dog into the session. So he does seem to have some sort of fear with the small dogs. And you could see here, like if you watch his eyes, when he looks over towards my dog, he like abruptly looks away. And he tends to just really look at you or me for direction. And at some points he kind of starts to like duck his head away and be a little bit like shy looking. So then he kind of starts to want to escape the situation, which is understandable if there's a fear there. But it's also like we want to think of any doorway as if it was our front doorway or a sidewalk or a street. Like wait means wait. Wherever we're at, whatever's going on, whatever is in the environment, whether it be a small dog or, a friend. So I really wanted to work on this with him, and you could see throughout he does get pretty stressed. So we make it really, really easy on him in the last part. So there, what we were doing is I was having you exit, and I was doing both like the body blocking for him and a little bit of the leash handling, because I just wanted to see like where his panic button really was. Was it when you exited the room? Was it just, your guys' interactions? And it does seem like he does get pretty pushy with you. Like even something like this, he went in to lean in for petting, and then he's also now like creeping up pretty good. So when you ask him to wait, just again, a reminder, I want you to ask him to wait like really clearly one time, and then just go right into waiting, because at some points there was a big long pause, and that left him more time to kind of think about what was going on, what he wanted to do, what the value of the cookies were at that point, which in this situation, they were almost like not valuable at all. So like there's a long pause after we've given the weight, and he's just like, oh, I'd rather be going. And so he goes. And again, just like I gave you the task of, try this with a family member, like have a family member do it and watch how they interact, and you'll kind of be able to see this breakdown. And even here with you, some of this, like when you go to take space back, he just doesn't give in. He's also like really pushing back at you. And it is just like he's stressed, and he's like, I don't wanna, but we want to get in the habit of like having that expectation for our dog. And when we ask them to do something, there's follow through. What I want you to be mindful of, though, just like we learned a lot in that session, was there are times to give like the leash correction, and then there's times to use our other avenues of communication. Because if a dog gets too stressed, like, yeah, you can correct them for the moving forward, but you cannot correct them for the stress and the panic. If they start to display like real like when he kind of went to climb on you in that last piece, that's when I kind of ran up and grabbed the leash. Those are moments you want to just really help and encourage through. So like you could just see from his overall body language, like it is stressful. It's not like he's doing it in a very matter of fact, like, I don't want to stay in this room. He's like, this room is stressful because of the small dog. So, and here's what I mean. When you go to lean into him, he also like kind of leans back into you, and he's waiting for you to just take a step away so that he can move forward again. And so I do want to work a little bit more on this in our next session. But we did get to a point where he did wait for us, and we were able to release him, but it did get pretty stressful for him. So Boundaries are stressful, and composure is stressful. And so that's why we do training and we practice these little controlled scenarios in this controlled environment so that when that stress happens, we can diffuse it. We can simply take a play break. That's why it is training. But in real life scenarios, if you were to go into panic like that, I just want to make sure we have the tools to communicate with him. So I want to make sure you have the tools to navigate those kind of situations. Because, I mean, if it happens here, they're bound to have the history tends to repeat itself. So anyway, that's the video. And wherever you're watching this from, I hope it was informative. And I hope it's going to be helpful for what we do in our next session. And yeah, other than that, you know where to find me if you have any questions, and I will talk to you soon.